Yeah, I'm interested in household food waste. I mean, we all know the figures, that UK households allegedly throw away about 8.3 million tonnes a year of uneaten food, and I was interested in finding out how and why it is that households come to do that. The approach I took was to go into people's homes, spend time with them, and generate in-depth understandings of the things they actually do and how this results in waste. There's no one single thing. I think there's lots of things going on, but I can summarise my sort of key findings under two broad headings. Firstly, it's important to understand how households end up with surplus food. Secondly, to understand how the surplus food ends up as waste, to take them each in turn. Households end up with surplus food, that is food that exceeds their perceived and immediate requirements for consumption. This happens really as households negotiate in the complex and contradictory demands of everyday life. In a nutshell, there exists a pressure to cook and eat in certain ways, cooking from scratch, fresh foods, perishable foods, a number of different dishes throughout the week. And if you throw this into kind of, alongside the busy lives that people lead, it's not surprising that people end up struggling to keep on top of the ingredients that they have in stock and use them up before they go bad. As for how people get rid of food, well, what my study found is that households tend to get rid of their surplus food through the bin, and I think this is because they don't have other ways of getting rid of the food that they haven't eaten. For example, the households they came across didn't give surplus food to their neighbours because they were concerned that their neighbours may judge their kind of poor, perceived poor cooking skills or bad taste in food. People didn't tend to give it to their children or animals because children and animals are fed specialised and specific foodstuffs, and the households I encountered were of the view that if they were to just use their surplus food to feed their children or their animals, this would somehow be tantamount to not caring for them. Well, this is the kind of point at which I come unstuck, because that's not what I know particularly well, but I do have some sort of vague ideas and vague suggestions. For example, the households I encountered ended up with too much food because food is only available in quantities that exceed the quantities in which they need it. For example, they may only need half a broccoli, but they only have the choice to buy a whole broccoli, or they may need half a bag of spinach but can only buy a massive bag of spinach. And of course these are things that go off if not used within a particular time frame. So perhaps there might be a role for kind of other actors along the supply chain to kind of make food available in different sizes and different quantities, but again I think this is a matter for further research.